wisdom outside of the rest of the nations, right? Do you understand that you're better than the rest of the nations? Say it, brother. All praises. All right. So you gotta keep the commandments, keep the high holy days, and live like an Israelite. Give me that. Yeah, or is it First Peter? Chosen race.
I really don't celebrate any holidays.
You don't celebrate no holidays? Well, we have holidays that we are not able to see, right? What, give me Leviticus 23, right? Let me show you right quick, brother. So the whole point, it's one thing to know that you're an Israelite, right? A lot of our people, the Bible says many are called and few are chosen, right? Majority of our people understand who they are, but majority of our people also choose not to live the lifestyle they're supposed to live, right? Knowing is not enough. You have to show it and display it through your actions. You have to let your light shine, right? Give me that.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 from the top. Yeah. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Even these are the feasts of the Lord, the holy days. That's where that word holiday comes from, right?
6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest.
So on the seventh day, you're supposed to keep the Sabbath. Don't spend no money, don't buy, sell, or do any work, right? I try not to do anything that'll make me sweat or break a sweat, right? So just play it cool, chill out on the Sabbath. Go ahead.
In holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
You should do no work therein because it's the Sabbath. And with you knowing you're an Israelite, you have to keep the Sabbath, right? Go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
So we have things like Passover, Tabernacles, Feast of First Fruits, right? You can look these things up yourself and get the meaning of them.
I'm familiar with the food.
Right? But you got to celebrate those things, right? It's mandatory. It's not like something you can choose to do, right? Give me Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Go ahead, it's more on that. You don't got to get all of them. You can, that's the point, right? Give me Deuteronomy 4 and 5.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Because the Lord taught our forefathers statutes and judgments, right? A way that we should live because he cares about us and he puts us above the rest of the nations. Go ahead.
Even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the land whether you go to possess it.
And we should behave this way wherever we are. Go ahead.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
So we have to keep those commandments because that is our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the rest of the nations. The reason why we don't have respect as a people group is because the nations look at us like we are foolish because we don't keep the true wisdom we have, right? That's the point. Go ahead.
We shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
And when you live that certain lifestyle, the other nations will perceive that and deem you as wise for the things that you do, right? Especially back then, they didn't understand why we didn't eat pork. They just knew we lived on it, right? So they'll put two and two together and say they have some type of elevated wisdom outside of the rest of the nations, right? Do you understand that you're better than the rest of the nations? Say it, brother. All praises. All right. So you gotta keep the commandments, keep the high holy days, and live like an Israelite. Give me that. Yeah, or is it First Peter? Chosen race. Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation,
right?
A royal priesthood, and holy nation.
You're a chosen people group, right? Which is why the Lord gave you those commandments in the first place. So we can't just live like everybody else. Going into the lesson I was going to talk about, everybody want to be all inclusive, but our race is members only. You got to be an Israelite to get with this, right? If you're not of the 12 tribes, we don't deal with you, and the Lord don't deal with you, right? So with you knowing that you better, you got to live a better lifestyle, right? Is that it?
A peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
Right, so the Lord can bless you and call you out of darkness to his marvelous light with that wisdom of the commandments, or he can kill you for not keeping them. And now that you know that you're an Israelite, brother, the choice is yours. What Fleece Johnson say, the choice is yours, brother. Right? So either you can fear God and keep the commandments or be destroyed in the land of your captivity. The choice is yours. Go ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 13. Red letter. You are the salt of the earth.
You are the salt of the earth. You ever ate food that's unseasoned? It's bland, right? It's like you don't even want to deal with it, right? That's why the Lord don't deal with the rest of the world, because it's bland. You are the salt. You the flavor in this earth. Go ahead.
But if the salt have lost its savior, wherewith shall it be salted?
If the salt has lost its savor or its flavorfulness, wherewith shall it be salted? It's good for nothing, right? Go ahead.
It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and be trodden under the foot of man.
It's good for nothing. So with you being the salt, brother, you got to embrace that thing, right? So you an Israelite, right? Say I'm an Israelite.
I'm an Israelite.
Yeah. My brother's name is Malachi. All right, so look, check out that information. We got thousands of videos all on YouTube, all right? The choice is yours. Can't nobody make you keep the commandments. The path to the kingdom of heaven is a straight and narrow path, meaning I can't grab you like this and walk with you down that road. You're going to either have to get in front of me or get behind me. But the choice is yours. Give me that, right?
So this is Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And now Israel, what does the Lord your God require of you?
What does God want from you, right?
But to fear the Lord your
Get
God,
Job 35.
to walk in all his ways,
Fear God, walk in his statutes and his commandments.
and to love him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord, to keep the
Commandments of the Lord.
Keep the commandments, bro, right?
and his statutes, which I command you this day for your good.
For what?
For your good.
It's not for his good, it's for your good. God don't get nothing from you for being right. You just doing what you're supposed to do anyway. That's the whole duty of man pertaining to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Matter of fact, let me let you hear. I know you gotta go. So go ahead. 35 and 3. Job, go ahead.
This is the book of Job, chapter 35 and verse 3. But thou saidest, what advantage will it be unto thee? And what profit shall I have?
What advantage is it to God, and what profit does God have, right? From your actions. Go ahead.
If I be cleansed from my sin,
If you be cleansed from your wickedness,
I will answer thee and thy companions with thee. Look unto the heavens and see and behold the clouds which are higher than thou.
the clouds are much higher than God, right?
If thou sinnest, what does thou against him?
If you sin, you don't really do nothing to God, because God ways, your ways are not God's ways. God is so much higher than you. When you sin, you really just doing something to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting at God, right? Go ahead.
Or if thy transgressions be multiplied, what doest thou unto him?
And if you keep sinning, you're not doing nothing to God. All you're gonna do is kill yourself. Right? Go ahead.
If thou be righteous, what giveth thou him?
And if you keep the commandments, you still ain't giving God nothing, because you're just doing what you're supposed to do. Right? Go ahead.
And what receiveth he of thy hand?
And God don't receive nothing from you. Only thing God can do for you is give, whether that's destruction or more life. So once again, the choice is yours, Mr. Malachi. Fear God and keep the commandments, man.
Thank y'all, man.
Check out that information,
I
right?
will, I got you.
All right, now, one problem, one grand misconception we have within our beloved brothers is that we always feel like we need to be one with the world, right? We practice a Babylonian philosophy, oneness, right? We mix doctrines with everything, and then you have something called modern Christianity, right? And we take on the faults and the evil ways of the other nations, the same as quote unquote Eve did in the garden, right? We have to understand we have our own culture, and we are a culture of separatism. Give me Leviticus 20 and 26. Give me Esther 3 and 1. 8 and 7, I think. All right, go ahead when you got it.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26. And you shall be holy unto me, for I am the Lord, am holy. And I have severed you from other people.
The Lord said he severed us from other people. Now, if God did that and God don't make mistakes, why would you go back and try and heal that separation, man? You can't be a part of something that God severed away from you. Go ahead.
And have severed you from other people, that you should be mine.
That you should be mine. Why didn't God say, I'm just going to take you and all the rest of the people? Right. Why did God tell Abraham to leave his land to establish that covenant? It's because the Lord is not dealing with all nations, man. It's that simple, and neither are the Israelites. The Israelites are black and they are black, right? And we don't deal with the rest of the nations. Give me that, 3 and 8. Esther 3 and 8. And then you can give me Job 15 and 4. And then Deuteronomy 4 and 5. You can hold on. Go ahead.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 8. And heaven said unto King,
where you at? And Haman said unto the king Ahasuerus.
Ahasuerus,
Go ahead.
These is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
These Israelites are certain people scattered abroad, dispersed amongst all the kingdoms. Go ahead.
And their laws are diverse from all people.
And our laws are diverse from all the other people. It's contrary to the worldly lifestyle, which is why we have to regain that culture and practice it throughout the earth, man. We are not like everyone. That's why 2 Peter says we are a chosen race above, right? Go ahead.
Neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
That's it on that. It's not for the king's profit to suffer us, and it's not for the profit of the world to suffer us. That's why we got to deal with things like the boys in blue coming to shut down the camp, right? Crazy Negroes threatening brothers because we want to do the work of the Lord, and all manner of demons that come up against us is because it's not meet or good for the world that we rise from the ashes and reclaim our heritage. Our understanding and elevation represents the destruction of the world, right? In Acts, it tells you Paul was turning the world upside down, and we are here to do the same exact thing, right? Give me that. So our laws are diverse from the rest of the nations. Go ahead. Where you at? Job 15 and 4.
This book of Job, chapter 15 and verse 4. Yeah, you castest off fear and restrain prayer before God.
15 and 14, excuse me.
This is the book of Job, chapter 15 and verse 14. What is man that he should be clean?
What is man that he should be clean, right? Go ahead.
And he which is born of a woman that he should be righteous.
Right.
Behold, he puts no trust in his saints. Yeah, the heavens are not clean in his sight.
So man is naturally unclean, which is why our laws are contrary to the world, because within our laws is cleanliness, right? God basically gave us the breakdown, the keys to life, man. You just got to pick it up and crank the ignition. That's all you got to do. I think that's it on that. What I had you going to Deuteronomy what?
Yes, 76.
Go ahead. No, that ain't what I wanted. Deuteronomy 4:19. Give me Isaiah 1 and 3. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 19. At least you lift up your eyes unto heaven, and when you seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God have divided unto all nations unto the whole heaven.
So the Lord divided all these idols unto the nations. The Lord actually gave them misunderstanding of what God is. And he took his time and he went out his way to give us the true understanding of the Bible. So with that, you have to be appreciative. That's like giving your child a gift and then he don't want it, and let alone kick it down the street, man. Right? The Lord gave us the breakdown, and he intentionally gave the other nations the things that they falsely worship. Go ahead.
But the Lord have taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace.
But God, and even though he gave the other gods to these nations, he took us and brought us forth out of that affliction. Go ahead.
Even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance,
right,
as you are this day.
As we are this day. And that's why we should practice division and separatism from the rest of the world, man. Right? What I got you holding?
Isaiah 1 and 3.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know. My people doth not consider.
And we don't even consider the fact that God did all these great things for us. At times when you're in the midst of your destruction and your captivity, it's easy to get distracted by your environment and your surroundings, but we have to understand that we put ourselves in this situation, right? Give me Isaiah 59, and you can hold that. You got Isaiah 59? Hey, what you got? Hold that real quick. Go ahead. From the top.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 59 from the top. Yeah. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy, that he cannot hear.
It's no problem with God's power. It's not like God don't have the means to protect us and to get us out of this captivity. Right? Go ahead.
But your iniquities have separated between you and your God.
But your sinful lifestyle prevents the Lord from helping you out. Right? So going back to my point, it's easy for us to get distracted with our oppression and our judgment and not understand the great things, the marvelous things that the Lord did for us in the time of old. But we have to, that's why we have, give me that written for your learning. Romans 15 and 4. Yeah, give me that. That's why we have to read the Bible to understand the gifts that God gave us, right? When you're in timeout and punishment, you don't think about the things your parents do for you and the sacrifices they make. All you think about is what you're going through right now because we're selfish creatures, right? Go ahead.
This is the book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. Yeah. For whatsoever thing were written aforetime were written for our learning.
That's right.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So you're going to have comfort when you understand that the Lord did all these miraculous works for you. Right? The Lord did things to us that the whole world talked about. The whole world knew about us when we parted that sea. And
Houston, say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.